That's what Twilight did.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome
to part 2.
This is our Breaking Dawn part 1 and part 2.
Oh no.
Something is breaking, that's for sure.
Of all the examples you could use of the part 2s, you've got Infinity War and Endgame, you've got Mission Impossible is gonna do it.
Hunger Games, Mockingjay.
Hunger Games, Harry Potter, you choose. Twilight, Breaking
Twilight did it first.
It's not Wednesday night. It's still Wednesday night. And we are still not at Rachel's house, but it is still Star Wars Starformers night. Gosh, this is actually recorded well after our 2-hour section. This is the intro for part 2 of this episode. And we'll just go right into it. I hope you guys enjoy. So we've got, I don't even have the episode written down here. What's the name of the next episode?
The Pit.
The Pit.
Oh, The Pit. Yes. Lots of Dark Knight Rises jokes around this episode.
Yes, I have this actually. So all of the notes I took were just helping me remember what style of animation, and I wrote Attack on Titan animation.
Yeah, that's true. So this was animated by, is this Trigger Fish? No, that's the last one.
No.
This is the art. Man, I'm gonna totally butcher this. Shitajiyo? Shtajio?
Not a clue.
Stagio.
That sounds about right. Thank you. Worked on 2020's Pokemon the movie Secrets of the Jungle. Indigo Ignited.
I see it. Yep. That makes sense.
The Castlevania show that I believe is on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that makes
makes a lot of
yep.
sense.
Oh, okay, so I'll check it out.
One of there was like a collection of anime. It's very similar to Visions. There was something for The Boys, Amazon superhero show that was a series of animated shorts. They did one for that called Nubian versus Nubian. And they worked on an anime called High School DxD. So very much grounded in this 2D animated anime style. And Rachel, do you have a recap?
Yeah, so it starts off with a group of stormtroopers leading a group of prisoners into the desert. The troopers get to the location they wanted to do, and they just tell them to start digging. They give them pickaxes, and they start bringing in more prisoners, and they just start digging this hole into the ground.
Yeah, there's like a montage sequence, I think, which is my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah, it's really well done, where we see the pit getting bigger and bigger, all the vehicles moving around it, and the city in the background going up.
Yes.
Starting up from nothing until, and before the montage starts, they've dug a decent amount, and a girl finds something hard that her pickaxe doesn't break, not a rock. She picks it up. Context clues, it's a kyber crystal. There's only in Star Wars, there's only one thing you can pick up out of the ground. That's crystal. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a kyber crystal.
There's a lot of kyber crystal content in Visions. I have
a lot of kyber crystal content in Star Wars.
Good Lord.
So
I guess every show needs a
you
resource.
you played Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, that's true.
But so they can find kyber crystals there, and so then they start digging. The hole gets bigger. The city gets built. Finally, they hit the bottom, like bedrock or something. Their pickaxes start
really
breaking.
hit bedrock. It is like Minecraft.
And so they're like, the stormtroopers go, we're done here. Everyone's excited. And the stormtroopers pack up and leave this 200 people in the pit with no way out.
Yeah, the stormtroopers, for reference, they're at the very edge of the pit. They have all these, they just somehow they're watching them from the very edge of the pit, so they all just pack up and fly away.
Well, actually, the one guy had binoculars.
Yes, exactly. So, and I guess they were mostly there just to make sure people didn't get out of the pit.
Yeah, so they pack up and leave. And so there's this kind of despair going around in our main character, a young man named Crux. He's like, we have to get out. And all the older people around him are like, no, we're not getting out. There's no way. And he's like, we're going to get out. I'm going to climb that wall if I have to. And so he has a really nice, moment with his sister, whose name I didn't catch, where he said that it's a light and dark combo that's prevalent in many Star Wars, where he talks about, he gives her a crystal, and he goes, "There's light in all of us. We just have to follow it." So he ends up climbing the wall. He kind of gets to a standstill about 3/4 of the way up, where he can't go any higher, and this creature we saw before that looks like a very familiar creature from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, he was like a little rock badger guy. I was like, oh, there we go, more earthbending.
Yeah.
Just waiting for Toph to show up.
Yeah. This little rock badger looking thing starts, kind of pops out of the wall where he's at and starts making handholds and footholds for him to get to the top of the wall. He gets up, he goes into the city, and he starts trying to ask for help. And this city is Lux. It really felt like that season, that episode, that chapter 21 for Mandalorian season 3, where we see Jack Black and Lizzo as the leaders of it's very Lux, very high class. Like, these people are well dressed, pristine city in this desert. And so he goes around trying to ask for help, and they all ignore him. And so finally he kind of hops up on a podium because he sees this tower has like a stained glass thing that's made out of kyber crystals. So he gets up and he gets everyone's attention, and he goes, "Your city was built by us. We are trapped out there in this pit outside of town." The stormtroopers kind of descend on him, and so we hear.
We should say too that his delivery makes it sound like he said, "We built this city," and so we all, of course,
yeah. And so we kind of hear the crowd like shocked. There's one crowd there's one lady that very specific, because he goes, "We have children down there," and one lady you hear her go, "Children?" And so the stormtroopers come in, they're like, "Don't listen to him," and Crux makes a run for it, and you hear the townspeople asking what's going on. They're like, what is he talking about? And the stormtroopers like, "Don't worry about it." They end up capturing Crux. They stun him, and
they do, very reminiscent of episode 4. I was like, oh, look at them using the stunner again.
Yeah, so they stun him.
Which
ultimately, it probably would have been better if they just shot him.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the same result in the end. I was gonna say, before we get there though, I'm wondering if the stunner has a better hit rate than the actual laser blast.
As we
how many times we've seen it on screen.
Well, as we've seen it, I think the stun gets bigger because it's a circle. It's at least got more surface volume, like more volume when being shot towards a target.
I'm just saying, if I was the Empire, I would just have all of them on stunners. I mean, they go down anyways. Like, you are way more accurate if you have stunners on. I'm saying it's a different game altogether.
So we see the troopers taking Crux out to the desert, and Crux wakes up, and they are standing at the edge of the hole. And they swing him, and I think this is actually the worst part. He's alive. Like, he's awake.
Yes.
And they throw him back into the pit.
And at this point, I've seen a few episodes of Vision, and I've seen some people falling, and I'm like, oh, he's going to get saved by the Force. They always get saved by the Force.
Someone's going to catch him.
And no, he just got Amazing Spider-Man 2'd. He really did.
Gwen Stacy.
No.
And so we never actually really, we don't see the impact. We don't see it, but we see all the people standing around him, and this young girl who's his sister and his mother, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
She pushes through I thought it was really well done. Like, she pushes through the crowd, and like right as she gets to see him, her mom grabs her back, and immediately we see his feet. Someone goes and covers him, and kind of like rather emotional moment of, oh my gosh, they just brutally killed this young man. Like, not even an execution, just toss him to fall, 200 feet? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not good at judging distance.
Whatever the feet equivalent is in parsecs.
Yeah.
Or whatever they use in Star Wars. And midichlorians, whatever they use in midichlorians.
But so...
Graz, I believe. I think they use Graz as a unit of measurement.
So anyways... then it'd be cups.
It would be cups.
It would be cups. Anyways, so we see, very emotional moment between Crux's sister and mother. And so his sister remembers what he says were follow the light. And she goes, we need to get them to follow light, them meaning the city. And so she starts to chant, follow the light.
And then they all chant "Follow the light."
All chant "Follow the light," and then we see the whole city come out with lamps towards the pit. The stormtroopers are mobilizing because there's 15 stormtroopers against 300 townspeople.
I don't even think there was that much. I thought it was 6. I think I counted.
It was okay. Mob mentality would win every time. Mm-hmm. And so the commander saying, we'll open fire, and these people they're demanding to know what's going on. And finally they end up pushing back against the stormtroopers, just pushing through them. The troopers don't open fire. The commander says, we gotta go.
Which is interesting that they didn't go that dark. And I guess I'll let you finish before I make this full comment, but there's a lot of moments in this episode where I was like, oh, they're going to go very dark in this episode. I was like, oh, no, I guess they're not.
I think because sometimes when it comes to PR, the Empire has no problem dealing with rebels, with prisoners. They're nothing to them. But when it comes to staying in the good graces of these, what we saw, very high-class people, was it possibly a thing where they were like, we'll just cut our losses and go. Or maybe they just nuke the city in a year. I don't know, with the Death Star.
Orbit.
But
I think you mean a mining accident. Unfortunate mining accident.
Exactly. It would all be a mining accident. They built a pit and then it collapsed, and somehow the whole city collapsed with it. Anyways.
It's that civil engineering. Matt's always telling us.
So they rescue all the people, and they're being flown out somewhere. I don't think they were flying them to the city.
Yeah, I don't know where they get flown.
They were flying them somewhere. But
we should make that comment. Yeah.
But
I was like, oh look, they found a working class. They all look pretty bougie in their outfits, and I'm just like, I don't know how you're going to sustain the city.
They did seem very 1%.
They really did.
But so Crux's sister and her and mom, they're on the ship together, and she pulls out the crystal that Crux gave her, and the crystal's actually very dull, and the sun catches it, and the dullness goes away and reveals it is a bright blue kyber crystal. I feel like for the most part,
that part was lost. I did not understand at all what that meant.
Follow the light. The light touched it, so it kind of fixed. Visual storytelling, but either way, that's where it's almost like the light activated it and her in a way. So
yeah, like most of the episode, it didn't land very much with me. I didn't get it. It felt like a very muted. And the whole episode, like its impact got muted. But maybe that was just me being cold and callous. It sounds like
callous.
No, this I
callous.
saw
Wait,
what this episode was going for. No. I gave you like 15 minutes to describe an episode last week. You got your callous time. I saw what this episode was going for. I thought it was admirable, very well animated. As I'm sitting here like scrolling through it, like it is a very there's a sheer quantity of people in this episode, like individual unique people. That's a lot of work in 2D animation.
They don't even do that in the fully funded Clone Wars or in Bad Batch. They reuse people.
And also, so fun fact, Crux, not to be confused with Hux, Crux, played by David Diggs.
Oh my gosh! Okay, I almost looked him up. As soon as he started listening, when he started his speech to the city people, I was thinking, that's David Diggs. I've listened to Hamilton enough. I really thought, I'm like, that sounds like David Diggs.
And then the Stormtroopers are played by Steve Blum, who is the voice of Zeb, and a lot of a very famous voice actor, and also Matthew Wood.
Steve Blum also voices Starscream in Transformers Prime.
Oh, there you go.
You're welcome.
Matthew Wood is primarily a sound department guy, and because he worked on the sound department, he is the voice of General Grievous and the battle droids.
Oh, great.
But yeah, I just felt like this episode, I often praise science fiction for going with very current political issues or long-standing political issues that's built into science fiction. You see that a lot, especially in like short form science fiction often goes there. But this is one I feel like is relying too heavily on like, oh, well, you know, if we do a slave allegory, people are inherently interested in that. Like, I think it's playing on things that, like, because they're heavy subjects, because they are things that are worth talking about, that you don't need a lot else. But, like, I don't feel like there's a moment in this show, this short where you really connect with the characters. Like, or really, like, obviously it's sad. Like, you explain this all out literally. If you told me this was a real story, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that is both very heartbreaking and very inspiring. But it's not. It's this fantasy world, and it's, like, kind of playing with the idea of, like, voicing your concerns, and it takes a lot of people voicing their concerns together, and then, like, you have to listen to solve this problem. Like, yes, it's, like, doing all these things that, like, on paper, yes, this works. This is good metaphor. This is good. But, like, it just, there's something missing narratively to like really drive it home. And it, go ahead, Rachel.
I was gonna say we do see that similar storyline in Canto Bight in The Last Jedi. An entire upper class of people that, if anything, profit off the war, and they're kind of like, what war? It doesn't touch them, so therefore it's not existing to them. It's whatever. It's just, this is the best.
And that works really well because that serves to teach. It explains who Rose is and why she fights, and it serves. And obviously, for a lot of people right now, they would sit here and say that's a terrible example. That's another example of someone doing it poorly. I like the Canto Bight sequence because it teaches. It helps Finn learn a lesson.
We're in a household that praises the Canto Bight.
Yeah, we are.
And so
Shout out to Mike.
I do think that's a good example of something like this. It's very on the nose. Like Star Wars is very rarely subtle. So I don't knock something for being obvious and like being very forward with what it's about.
Right.
But that all serves to teach Finn a lesson, a character we know and we like, and we want to see him be the hero that we hope he will be. This, like, it's kind of sad that a character dies. Obviously, Caleb talked about how you just assume he's going to somehow survive the fall.
And like that's tragic that he doesn't survive. Like that was a genuine twist in Visions. Not intentionally because none of these studios are collaborating, but like that was a genuine twist that someone doesn't survive a fall in the short.
Or just theoretically,
Star Wars characters rarely die from falling, anyways.
Theoretically, a Star Wars thing at the animated is somewhat intended for children. I'm not saying it has to be, but like theoretically, who's going to be the majority of people potentially watching this on accident on Disney Plus? It's children. So in a children adjacent piece of media, a character actually dying is surprising.
Outside of a bad guy.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely. And go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm a sucker for Star Wars content where it's normal people rising against the Empire. It wasn't, to the same level of Andor, but it kind of gave me similar feelings.
And again, Andor really makes you feel for that town. We spend a lot of time in that town.
Granted, that's 12 episodes versus
absolutely
15 minutes.
100%. But like, there are so many examples of, even the earlier episode, I am really terrible with the episode names.
In the Stars?
Yes. Very quickly makes you care about those characters. Like, really quickly establishes who they are, what their culture's kind of like, and it just, like, gives them a reason, like, that story, and that's even more heavy-handed story.
For you guys later on when we do our rankings.
Oh, no. I'm looking forward to that controversy. Anyways, we can move on. I don't have anything really specific to criticize this episode. I think it's good. I think a lot of heart went into it and a lot of care. It just ultimately, I think especially retroactively, the last episode makes me like, it's so good that it like makes me look a little bit farther down on these two episodes. But like, I'm glad all 9 exist. Like, in order to have something like this, you're going to have ones that are better than others. And I'm glad they all exist. So moving on to our final episode for today. How did they pronounce her name? Aru's song. Both a lot happens in this and not so much. Effectively, you have this planet with kyber crystals that all got corrupted by the dark side. So they're all red crystals, and you have Jedi working to try to restore them to how they were. So you have this civilization of what we described as teddy bear people.
It is a very fluffy episode.
It's like I said earlier when we watched it, the amazing world of Gumball and its consequences.
Are there individual episodes of World of Gumball that are 3D animation?
Oh
This is
yeah,
normally 2D
it's a
animation.
ton of mixed media.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
There's a ton
you know
of
what?
mixed media episodes.
I'm totally wrong. When you said Gumball, my brain totally went to Chowder for some reason. So I was like, what are you guys talking about? Yes, absolutely. I totally understand. This is not a mixed media episode in the same world Gumball is, but it appears to look like felt stop motion.
Yes.
When it's all entirely CGI. 3D animated CGI. And so they are like blue teddy bear people, and they mine these crystals. That's their job. And this young character is told to stay away from the crystals because she has some sort of reaction to them, or they have a reaction to her. And there's an incredible moment when she first sees the first crystal of the episode. They become isolated. You see just her and just the crystal, with blue light swirling around her and red light swirling around the crystal. The Jedi that is visiting them recognizes that she has power and that she could. Well, this is actually what I was about to say is later in the episode. Her dad goes to town he tells her to, she needs to stay hidden and stay quiet and not, quote unquote, sing her song, and that the crystals are too dangerous to be near her. He goes off in town to go work in the mines. She yearns for the mines, but she's not allowed to be in the mines. She goes about town and eventually finds it too... it's too much of a temptation. She goes into the mines and is drawn there, and then...
She enters an entire cave of all red kyber crystals.
Yeah, and they start to react to her.
They sing.
Yeah.
Her dad pulls her out. The entire mountain is crumbling, and
because of her interaction with the kyber crystals.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
And she, while they're crossing a bridge, the bridge collapses. They both fall into a chasm. The Jedi saves them.
We see the Jedi earlier.
Yes.
Receiving a crystal from her father, who mines them.
We should note that in a one of the themes of tonight's viewing was fall damage, and this Jedi is immune to fall damage. There is no fall damage.
She is.
And she's using the Force to prevent all of the debris from falling on them in a very visually spectacular moment. And then Arus steps to the side and sings her song out loud, and we now see the kind of, again, she's totally isolated. We can see all the crystals in the mountain, and she just sends this wave out that makes them all blue again. And Caleb, what was your comment in this moment?
She made this whole planet's production just so much more efficient. Yeah.
She destabilized.
Or destabilized.
She just put everyone out of jobs.
I don't know. I think most of them are just mining, so it becomes
true.
easier. They can they just have to.
She put every Jedi on that planet out of a job.
That's true. Wildly economically efficient, made the capitalists very happy on that planet.
And in a final sequence very similar to a lot of other Visions episodes, the Jedi says, "You have a great power, but you need to be trained. I can take you with me." And she said, "I'll be leaving in a fortnight, and you can make your decision." And that's where the episode ends.
Well, she makes her decision to go.
Oh, she does. No, it ends with her saying, "Consider it. I will be leaving in a fortnight."
No, we see a scene of her with her dad afterwards.
I forgot about that.
And we have
That's
just
my
the
bad.
fluffiest hug you can possibly make.
I totally forgot about that. That's my fault.
In fact, I'd even nominate this dad for going to the dad barbecue that Megan and I are creating for all the good dads in cinema.
Uh-huh.
You're not oh shoot, I was going to make an Invincible joke.
Oh, no.
You're not bringing
him. No. He's not invited.
What's his name? Ultraman? No.
Ultraman. No, that's a...
Superior?
Why did I think...
Lake Superior. Lake Erie, I think.
Yeah.
Why did I think Mega Man?
Ultraman, I think, is another that's another kaiju movie, isn't it?
Oh, you're right.
That's a kaiju series. Which I was going to make it one of those... I was going to make... a really old kaiju
Godzilla
reference.
is canonically a dad.
Omni-Man.
You just saw that pop up on my screen.
Omni-Man, yeah.
What
So this
can I
episode
say?
rules, I think.
Yes, it
Absolutely
does.
phenomenal. I think what I realized watching this is the issue with hyperrealism is what it's playing upon is our computer's incredible ability to create really good textures, but then I think a lot of animation is still trying to figure out how to actually animate the characters with those textures. And oftentimes you get something like Shrek that's just very unappealing to look at.
It's very difficult to squash and stretch humans when we don't move
Sure.
like that.
But what this has decided to do instead, we're going to take the look of stop motion and use incredibly realistic textures on animated characters to make them look like stop motion characters instead, which has been used a lot. But this is the first time I've really fully clicked in my brain of that's an incredible use of realistic textures. What I talked about in an earlier episode in the stars when we talked about that is that I like stop motion a lot because you have real lighting and real textures. Well, this is doing an incredible job of recreating real light and textures with CGI.
Is the first time she speaks this episode when she calls for her father when he's falling, Abby?
I don't believe so.
Or does she say something to him when they're in town?
Oh, that's a good question.
She talks to him during the breakfast sequence.
Oh, I forgot.
Ooh, and I made a comment there that made me crave some potato soup. That was too slurpy for Rachel, but it was just slurpy enough for me.
It was just like, I hate that.
It was good. It was good. It was making me be
Gives
like,
me the
ooh.
ick.
Nah, I enjoyed it. I appreciated it.
But as I was saying, these realistic textures, realistic lighting, but then instead of going with realistic design, more cartoony design, much more. The characters are very likable. I think they're very fun to look at. They're very well designed. They all have instant personality when you look at them. They have very big eyes. They have very accentuated features. I did not realize, just another story note, is you were kind of getting to her voice. She is wearing this like collar thing the whole episode, and she takes it off right as she sings for the first time. And I had not really thought about that character design choice until that moment.
You see her pull it up and down a lot.
Yeah,
I had not really thought about it.
It's very subtle. I like it.
So her main weapon against the Sith is going to be singing, and her voice is just going to viscerally rip them to shreds, a la Captain Blackbeard at the end of Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Sorry,
when
nope,
he gets...
I haven't seen it.
No, it's all we need to leave the space longer.
Oh. She's just gonna, they're gonna be like, wow, look at this cute little Jedi. She can't be a threat. And she sings and just, it's like a Black Bolt.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I think you mean Blackagon. What is his name? Boltagon Balthazar. Something like that is his full name. Anyways, I was trying to make a dumb joke.
Bakugan.
Well, this is much better content than the Doctor Strange movie anyway. So
Baklava.
You have clearly never actually seen the show that Black Bolt came from.
No.
If you had seen that, you would think...
I'm not throwing shade at Black Bolt. I'm just throwing shade at
he
the Doctor
deserves
Strange.
the show he is
you
from.
should throw shade at him. He deserves
The
it.
Immortals.
Sam Raimi specifically.
Listen, I love that car crash. I think it is the most interesting car crash.
It's
Marvel
certainly
has
a
put
train
out.
wreck.
Anyway, so we got great character design, solid storytelling. I think it's very straightforward, but it's told visually with really interesting animation choices like isolating her and the kyber crystals. Anything else you guys liked or disliked in this episode?
Oh, it's fine.
No,
We've
I
got
loved it.
the
That was very good.
the little tick guys.
Yeah.
Louse.
The lice.
No, the different lice are parasites. I guess you could technically make the argument they might be both parasites, but louse are not lice. They're not the same.
Well,
But they look like ticks though, because like a louse is a more.
But they're not lice.
Like the subtitles called them louses, but that doesn't.
oh, did it? I thought it called
But
them
also,
lice. Whoops.
louse is a common name for any member. They're the same thing.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Louse and lice.
Yes.
Isn't
Really?
lice the plural of louse?
It is. Ha!
Can we cut the last 5 minutes?
Leave it in and double it.
I'll double it later when I speed it up.
Yeah, louse is singular.
No, I think the
Lice
only
is
thing I would
plural.
add to that comment is that everything on this world is adorable. Even the
Even the parasites.
even the
Yes.
parasites are like, oh no, I wouldn't
Agreed.
mind. I'd give him a hug.
Agreed.
It's just a very sweet world, and yeah, I
The
love
louse?
the world it builds. So
The
No,
louse sang to her too.
They did. There's a lot. It's a very wholesome.
When she
Oh.
pulls it off, she's humming to it, and it kind
Yeah.
of chitters, like I don't know, squeaks in response in harmony or whatever. And she puts it down, and it scuttles away between the rocks. Can you imagine stepping on one of those things? Would that not be like the worst?
Well, it's like the size of your foot. Those things are
Exactly.
huge.
Imagine the noise. the snap
That is
heard
a
around the
crunch.
world.
Oh my god.
Rachel, you couldn't be a Jedi.
Why?
Yeah, look at these things. There's like these like big like what do you like bovine sort of characters
And they got like pug faces. Like they're very, yeah.
This great, incredible character
And the
design.
Sith were on this planet at one point.
Yeah, that was what I said. I was like, kept getting cuter and cuter. And I just said, it's gonna be really sad when the Sith show up and kill everyone at the end of this episode.
The Sith resurgence.
We have Darth Vader walk through the hallway and just massacre everyone again.
It's a long hallway.
It's a long hallway.
All right, you guys ready to do rankings?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, start with number 9. What's your least favorite? Rachel.
Okay, so for context, there aren't any that I like hate. There aren't any I dislike. There are ones I love and ones I think I'm like, yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, I think about the same way.
So I have episode 5, Into the Dark Head. Visually stunning, just didn't do it for me narratively.
Just to make sure, Journey to the Dark Head.
Oh, yeah,
right?
sorry.
Yeah, close enough. Absolutely. Caleb, what do you got for number 9?
I have the Pit, actually. The Pit, it just didn't land with me.
Fair enough. And I have Bandits of Golan.
Golok.
What was it?
Golok.
Golok. I must have autocorrected or something. Interesting. Golok. Worthy attempt, I think, just didn't come together for me. Number 8, Rachel.
Sith.
Which was...
First episode.
The very first one. That one's really high for me. Why? What did you not like about it?
I think there were just others that I liked narratively.
Sure.
And like I said, they're none like my ranking, even if they're at the bottom, aren't ones that I'm like, oh, these are awful. It's just like I thought it was fine. Thought it was fun. I did really love the back and forth light and dark concept that they did. I loved that. I just think overall it was fine.
What do you got for number 8, Caleb?
I actually just moved it after all this discussion, which is frequent for me to change my opinions. But I actually moved Bandits of Gorak down.
Golok!
Golok. Whatever. Golok. Whoa. Yeah, I moved that down to 7. It was higher than that, but I moved it down.
So we're looking for number 8 right now.
Oh, yeah. No, that's episode. Yeah, so number 8.
You had it at 7. Now it's
I had it higher than that. I'm just thinking in my head, I have it listed as 7.
I see. So but it is...
So the
what do you
episode,
have written down?
The episode number is episode 7, and it's 8.
I
okay.
see.
Yes.
That's okay. And for my number 8 is the Pit. So we have our bottom two of the same. Yeah, the Pit is fine. I love the character. I love the sheer quantity of work they put into it, and that now I'm totally blank on the word. The time lapse sequence. Phenomenal, but other than that, didn't quite land for me. Rachel, what do you got at number 7?
Oh, song.
Oh no!
Oh, you think that's the hottest take? I'll up you one.
Is this your number 7?
My number 7, In the Stars.
Now, ironically, I have In the Stars at 5, which is not that much higher, but like I think once we get above 7, I really like my 1 through 6. Man, Rachel is really mad at you, though, I think.
That episode, it was like...
It's okay. That's why you're a guest.
Well,
Okay.
listen. Like, this is...
First, I want to hear from Rachel, just real fast. What did not land for you about O's song?
I just thought it was fine.
Yeah? Nothing?
I didn't think it was stellar. Just me personally, sure. I thought it was fine. It was cute. It was cute. I just think it was fine. It didn't do anything wrong. It just, for me, didn't do anything wrong. Just for me, it just didn't stick out comparatively to the other ones that I like.
So this will be the first time we're getting into hearing Caleb's opinions on episodes outside of what we talked about today. So give us your opinions on In the Stars. We both absolutely loved it. It's a big hit for us while we talked about it.
I know. I when I listened to the episode, I had already... So in preparation for this episode, I'd listened to the last 2, and I'd also... gone through the other episodes of Visions. That way I knew, I'd seen them all.
Did his homework.
And I did my homework, exactly. And I went, oh no. Because I'd already, by the time I listened to your episodes, I had composed my list and I went, oh no.
I'm actually glad you did that, though.
Oh,
that you
absolutely.
composed your list
Yeah.
before listening to us word vomit.
We're very happy for you
For
to
4
have
hours.
your
So
own personal opinion.
We have a mutual friend, Megan, who has a hot take about My Neighbor Totoro. And I hate that I am even disliking In the Stars for a similar reason, but Megan, fundamentally the sister dynamic does not land for her at all, and she really doesn't like it. And for me, I found In the Stars, I found the younger sister very nagging, very annoying, and so I was just no, just let her go, just let her get her get chucked off the. And that was the first instance actually of our That was the first instance of our trope throughout this season of people getting thrown off of high places and then getting saved by the Force.
They were inspired by Bad Batch season 2.
So it just fundamentally, like, maybe I should credit it higher just for stop motion, how impressive that is. Like, I'm not giving enough credit to that, the amount of work that was. But the characters in that just did not land for me, and I just did not care for the resolution or any of that. So it just, fundamentally did not land with me, that episode.
And that's really understandable, because like anything with a character relationship at its core, if you don't feel that chemistry works, or you find a character annoying, like it's kind of hard to fully explain like how character is annoying in a good way or a bad way, because obviously it's a little sister, she's supposed to be annoying, but whether it's endearing or actually annoying, that's the gap there that you have to bridge. For me, it's endearing, but it being annoying, totally understandable. You mentioned a character falling off the edge. It reminded me, and Rachel mentioned Bad Batch Season 2, to add to our list of characters who fell off into infinite abysses and are continually falling, like Wilco and Echo, or Tech, seemingly Tech for the time being.
I hope he stays dead.
I started rewatching Rebels with my fiance, and
without me. I'm kidding.
In the second episode, I had totally forgotten that Callus is like hanging on like a thing, and there's another stormtrooper there, and he kicks that other stormtrooper out of spite, and he just falls. That stormtrooper is also falling infinitely, and for the time until otherwise
the
confirmed.
Force comes and saves him again.
I am a callous apologist.
So anyways, number 7 for me is
I just want to add real quickly. Megan, I hate that I'm sympathizing with this view. I still think your Totoro opinion is totally wrong. And I hate that I can sympathize with your view.
Well, you'll get a response for her when she listens in 3 months. My number 7
love you, Megan.
is we all love you, Megan. I Am Your Mother. Good episode. I really wanted to like this episode. It's made by Aardman. It's it's claymation. I love their style. I think they're some of the funniest storytellers on the planet. And that's why I didn't like this one as much, because it just wasn't that funny to me. I want more Star Wars comedy. Intentional comedy. There's lots of accidental comedy in Star Wars, but I would love some more like really good, solid comedy told in the Star Wars universe. I think there's obviously tons of material there, and I was really bummed this was not that
stand up
funny.
in the Star Wars world. Can you imagine some comedian heckling a stormtrooper in the front row? Where are you
and
from?
then getting shot.
Where are you from? I'm from Alderaan. Not anymore.
He turned into Yoda there for a second.
See, I almost did the impersonation when I read last week, so I could differentiate between Yoda and Obi-Wan. But I was like, I'm not gonna go.
Is that season 7 of The Mandalorian? Is Grogu becomes a stand-up comedian? I'd watch it.
The stand-up Lorian?
No, I wouldn't.
He just stand up to the Mandalorian.
The Comedalorian?
The Comedalorian.
Oh.
Anyways, Rachel, what's your number 6?
Bandits of Golok.
Yeah, I think we've covered that pretty thoroughly today. Anything else you want to add?
I like what they tried. I like what they tried to do. I did think the environments of that were really gorgeous.
Oh, totally.
And you know what? I think the aliens, like the non-human characters, are actually done really well. Sure. I think like the stormtroopers looked great. The Inquisitor looked great. I think our main characters with the hyperrealism is where it kind of started to fall apart. Love the old lady duking it out with that Inquisitor. Love that.
Caleb, what's your number 6?
Number 6 is I Am Your Mother. I think you covered the episode very well. I thought it was very funny. I think I texted you about chortling every time. The British, anytime anyone spoke, it was just funny to listen to them speak. It was very fun, just like British kids cartoon kind of stuff. And so that was fun. But like it said very, very little. It was kind of mirthless entertainment.
Sure.
Almost. Mirthless is
a mirthless chuckle, perhaps?
A mirthless chuckle, perhaps. No, forgive me. I'm using that incorrectly.
My number 6 is Journey of the Dark Head. This is pretty much just because I don't think it's as amazing as my top 5. Journey of the Dark Head was the episode with the young woman who was from the planet where they could like see the future, and the young Jedi traveling to try to destroy the dark side statue. I thought this was like animation, like 9 or a 10
Visually
out of 10.
stunning.
It just was a very straightforward, like this is a very straightforward Star Wars story, which I almost really enjoyed to an extent. Just to see like this, like to see someone just like do like, what is Star Wars? If an AI generated a Star Wars story, it'd be this, and not a bad way. It was just like, wow, like this is like beat for beat a Star Wars story, which I really enjoyed. And this is probably one
Light-haired Jedi boy, dark-haired blaster girl.
This is definitely one though I would gladly watch more of. Like I actually really liked their character interactions, and I would gladly watch more of these characters. But it just while its animation is top tier, the story is why it lands at number 6 and not higher. Rachel, what's your number 5?
Hold on, can I count right?
Rachel just squinted at her phone like a grandma.
I Am Your Mother.
Yep. Anything else to say about it?
I liked the dynamic between the girl whose name, the character, and her mom. I don't know. I just kind of like.
It is very sweet.
That's why I liked it. I really liked because when their daughter was like, "Mom, you're embarrassing me," and her mom instead of, I don't know. I feel like sometimes like there are two pathways to take in the character. Like you got the Freaky Friday zone where like, "Mom, you're embarrassing me," and the mom is like, "I don't care. I'm your mom," and her mom. I don't know. It was just very sympathetic and was like, I didn't realize I was doing that too. It was just very sweet. Points for Wedge and Tilly's. even though they did him so dirty.
I like that Wedge.
His hair looks real rough. Also props for canonizing space underwear. Take that, George Lucas.
Okay. It isn't canon. None of this is canon. Absolutely 0% of Visions is canon.
Carrie Fisher would have loved it.
That's true.
Carrie Fisher would have been tweeting, George Lucas told me underwear didn't exist in space.
What is the context for that original quote?
Because
George Lucas, little bit of a strange relationship with his female characters. For whatever reason.
Continue.
For whatever reason, didn't want Leia to have a bra. And when when the actress Carrie Fisher asked why, George Lucas said they don't wear underwear in space.
Also,
for such an asexual writer, for such a man afraid of human relationships in his films, a very strange choice for him.
Also, further context: George Lucas is the reason that our first initial view of Ahsoka, of 12, 13-year-old Ahsoka, puts her in a tube top and a miniskirt. Because Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's baby. That is his original character. That is his OC. And so every time someone asks him, why in the world did you do that? He immediately is like, these are the original sketches I had. George Lucas did that. Immediately he goes, that is not what I envisioned her. And he'll pull up the photos and he's like, George Lucas did that. So, but it was very sweet. I loved it.
Caleb, you're number 5.
My number 5 is number 5, Journey to the Dark Head. I think I like this world. It's one that I got immersed in, and like, yeah, it's kind of flat. I kind of like the twist at the end. It's not really a twist, but I like that theme of like, you can't, the dark and the light are kind of inside everyone, which is true.
There are two wolves inside of you.
Yeah, exactly.
There are 2 space statues inside of you.
And so I like that theme.
Wolves inside you.
I think the 2 characters are fine. I think season 1 had some better like buddy cop kind of stuff going on. I can't remember the name of the episode, but it was very fun. Where they had like a burned out Jedi Master, and I really liked him. I liked the Peter B. Parker vibes that he was giving off, and so like this was fine. I liked the dynamic between the 2 characters, and so I could be like, oh yeah, I'd watch more of this. So it made up to number 5 for me for that.
Nice. And my number 5 is In the Stars. Love it. I think it's incredible. I think the fact that this is number 5 really shows how good these are on whole. Stop motion, some of the best I've ever seen. Incredible blending of CGI and stop motion. Oftentimes, if you start to throw in mixed media like that, one is clearly not as good as the other. Especially if you have stop motion studio, their CGI might not be as good, so it'll really stand out. I think they blended really nicely. Don't really have any faults towards it. It's a little predictable, as you talked about. It's not the strongest character work. The older sister is, for most of the episode, just a fairly average stoic character. But I do think that really accentuates at the ending when she does have her emotional breakthrough at the end. I think that makes it work really well. Number 4, Rachel.
The Pit.
The Pit. Oh wow, it's really quite high for you.
Like I said, I really enjoy the stories in Star Wars that are not okay. Like in the Bandits of Golak, I love when Jedi show up out of nowhere, just decimate the battlefield. I love that. I equally love stories about the normal people in Star Wars. I equally love these stories of normal people fighting against the Empire, doing what they can. I thought actually really, this is not terrible. I think, going into it, we're all like, oh, Crux is the main character. They kill him. Sure. I think that's a bold choice. I don't know. I think the unexpectedness of me was like, oh, where are we going to go from here? Because it almost makes you think, is this one of those, like, there is no hope kind of things? But it very similar. I really enjoyed it. And I think there's kind of something to be said. And we've seen this a lot with Visions, where we, a lot of focus on younger child characters. A lot of this like next generation kind of, pushing forward the older generations who might be a little jaded at their spot at this point. Pushing forward against expectations or the usual in order to fight back. So I enjoyed it.
Nice. Caleb, what is your number 4?
Number 4 for me is Sith. I liked it visually. This is the part where this is where my list goes from like it's all right to I like this stuff. It's only really the top 4 that I really like, and especially the top 2 are the ones that, man, I really thought those were excellent. But yeah, I like this one quite a bit. I really enjoyed the animation of this one. I loved how it integrated itself into the story. So yeah,
it's got. I'll talk about it in a minute because it's about to be mine. But number 4 for me is Creature's Reach. A really excellent 2D animated, probably hand-drawn animation. Uses its characters well. Very memorable, likable characters. A nice little twist at the end. Nice look at, like, different kinds of Sith. It's just all around a great story. Great animation.
That Sith looked like the owl librarian from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Thank you. You actually get this reference.
Yeah. No,
okay, Rachel, what is your number 3?
Screecher's Reach.
Very nice.
I mean, I loved it. It was fun. It was an all-around likable group of kids who've been dealt not the best hand in life, and we kind of see how they choose to deal with it. And maybe Doll, the main character, just doesn't quite understand the Sith, or she sees an out and she's willing to do whatever it takes. One thing that I really loved was, so when Doll is left alone trapped in the cave, there's an excellent part of the animation where the only it's all black except for the red lightsaber and the light that comes out of it. You can't replicate that in 3D. You can't replicate that in CGI. Not well. So I just loved that stark contrast. So artfully done.
Yeah, darkness is really hard to capture. In film, it's almost always just literally darkening the footage, and you can always tell there's a very bright light source anyways, and it doesn't make any literal sense. CGI, probably something somewhat similar. Hand-drawn, you can have the nice, like, sketchy, like, you can tell that it's darkness, and you can create bold outlines, and you can really capture it. I like that a lot. Good observation. What were you going to say, Caleb?
Oh, I think that was number 3. I think you might have said number 4. Or for you asked her what the number 4 was. I think it was number 3, right?
Oh, no. We're on number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my number 3. Because the pit was
my
number 4.
Yeah. No, you answered it correctly. I think you just might have said 4.
I thought you said 3.
Anyways, Caleb, what is your number 3?
Screecher's Reach.
Very good. Very cool. What do you think about it?
The only thing additional I'd like to add, I think everything you've said, spot on. All the reasons already said. I just wanted to add one bit that I thought was very funny. That this led to the joke that there are only 2 Irish stories. One of them is about leaving Ireland, and those are the happy stories, and the other is about not being able to leave Ireland, and those are the sad, depressed stories. And so this is the former. This also has the bit where children yearn for the mines, and that is also, there are 2 themes that are throughout all of this season of Visions, and it is the children yearn for the mines, and most of the time, if you take a fall, you'll get saved by the Force.
Very true. My number 3 is the Sith, which we've already talked about quite a bit. This one is not as strong of a narrative for me. The animation and the way they use animation really puts this one super high up there. The dark and the light and the way they play with space and characters being in different spaces simultaneously is so interesting. Character design, top tier. It's got a fun robot friend, which is always a big win for me. Really fun use of the cycle bike. Narratively, though, I'm sure there's lots of expanded universe that deal with people turning from the dark side to the light side, but in the mainline stuff, it normally results in you dying. If you go from the dark side to the light side, you're pretty much instantly killed because those characters are typically irredeemable. There's like, you cannot have a society that allows someone like Darth Vader or Kylo Ren to continue to live after what they've done.
You know, it's a really good redemption story.
He's not dark side. Callous. Yes, I know. So
that's my bit in this podcast.
Yes, thank you. I love your commitment to bit, Rachel. I just love getting to deal with a character who's both an artist, which I thought was really interesting, and
representation,
that she was a former dark side user, and so that just really landed it high for me. Rachel, number 2 for you.
Spy Dancer. Gorgeous. If I had a nickel for each time we saw 2 similar Nope looking imagery in Visions season 2, I'd have 2 nickels, one of the Sith ship in Screech's reach. And when the dancer first comes down and flares her dress out, very much looked like the alien from Nope. But so I really liked the twist. Of her finding out the Imperial officer is not actually the one who took her son, but is her son and was raised by that man. I really felt like her emotions were conveyed very, very well, from this hate to horror. I just overall really enjoyed it. Also, it was made by, I can't remember it was made by the same company that has worked on Primal. So the art style is very unique, very fluid. Enjoyed watching this woman, Louis, I think, decimate an entire group of stormtroopers. We also got a very thick stormtrooper.
Yes,
that's a big man.
Un gros stormtrooper.
Forgot they were French. Maybe minus points for French. But no, overall, I really enjoyed it.
Very good. Caleb, number 2.
Number 2 for me is Au's song. I just love it. It was so fluffy. It was so warm. I loved the use of 2D was fantastic. I was just
3D. You mean?
No, the 2D element of it, or at least I should say. Sorry, I'm getting my animation styles mixed up. When she's alone with the kyber crystals, that is fantastic. I love that.
Kind of like a minimalism.
Yeah,
almost.
minimalism. That's a good way to phrase it. Yes, I'm a very skilled in animation, as you can tell.
Yes.
Very wise to it.
The residential expert.
I am the expert on this podcast for sure. I know all the things about the animating things that animate.
The time I wanted to fight your roommate because he said, "Well, it's just easy. The computer does it for you anyways." And he never said that again in my presence.
Ooh, good times.
If looks could kill, he would have been dead 10 times.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. We love you, Nathan. Just doxing everyone. But no, it was fantastic. I love it. It was so fluffy. Dad gets to go to the dad barbecue. So, yeah.
Dad barbecue.
He just talked about this like 15 minutes ago.
How did I miss this?
Yeah, it's all the good dads in cinema. Like the main one started it is Massimo and Luca. He's just so wholesome and we love him so much. And so he's, and like we could definitely see him flipping a burger. And like kind of like the opening to King of the Hill where they just like stand around and like drink beers. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm thinking of. But I don't think any of the dads from King of the Hill are invited to the dad barbecue.
I'm sorry, Hank?
I don't know.
Hank's a good dad.
Maybe okay. Hank can come. That's fine.
They are flawed humans.
Yeah.
Hank and Peggy both work through their trauma to raise Bobby, and they do a darn good job.
I think this is relevant to what you just said about the dad. We forgot to mention that it's a South African studio that made that, and they clearly populated it with African voice actors. The guy who plays the dad is just phenomenal. Like that particular like African dad voice is just so good. It's very wholesome, very loving, yet very stern,
warm.
But warm, but very full of emotion. So that's another good note. Do you have anything else you want to say about O's song?
No, just fantastic episode.
My number 2 is also Spy Dancer. I mean, they're the connection to Ernest and Celestine for me personally is enough to like make me love something because I love their work.
The range from Ernest and Celestine to Primal,
2 exact polar opposites of animation. Beautiful animation, great storytelling. As it was for me, this probably would have originally landed lower, but as you and I were talking about it last week, Rachel, I was really impressed by your memory of the details. I did not catch a lot of these little details, and so I was really glad that we recapped it because it just made me truly realize that the appreciation for storytelling and not so obvious storytelling. I mean, it was definitely there, but it wasn't. It's like characters weren't explaining things. It was in a short amount of time. They get a lot of character done. You get all the stuff you love in Star Wars. The world has a personality. The characters have personality and motivation. The villains have personality and backstory. And there's both great action and comedy and a very heartfelt, heart-wrenching ending. It's absolutely everything you want in Star Wars.
Yet hopeful.
Absolutely. And so we are to our number ones. Rachel, what's your number one?
In the Stars.
What's so great about it? Why is it your number one?
I cried at the end. I think
I wish this was a visual medium, because I could do my impression of Rachel crying, which is oftentimes her putting her shirt up over her nose to. I don't know why that's her hiding that she's crying.
It's this, isn't it?
Yeah, even though you cry from your eyes, you hide the rest of your face. It's always very sweet. I always love when you get emotional, Rachel.
If you don't want to know something about me, it doesn't take much for me to cry during film. If the music's good.
Yes.
Honorable mention Kung Fu Panda 2 when I cried in front of an entire group of people during it. Anyways. So I honestly was not expecting to love In the Stars as much. I had seen clips from Bandits of Golok, and I had really thought that was going to be my favorite, and it wasn't. In the Stars, and see, I actually like the dynamic of the two sisters, because you have this older sister who has experienced the trauma of their people in an entirely different way than the younger sister. There's still that cling to hope and almost this like, it makes me think of like childlike faith. Like her belief in the stars, in the Force, and in her mother's capabilities is not tarnished by what befell them. And so it's kind of ultimately that hope that pushes, forces her sister to save her, but ultimately kind of pushes forward the step that is necessary for them to defeat the Empire. So I think it's very sweet dynamic. I think the ending is just it's gorgeous. The smog goes away. We see the stars and everything starts to grow again. So also, I really like the character designs.
Absolutely. A lot of great stuff there.
Got another General Price looking Imperial captain, though.
Caleb, what's your number one?
Mon épisode préféré est La danseuse espionne, which is the spy dancer. It's fantastic. It's French. I texted Cameron. I said I love this episode and it's French, and then he texts back and he says whether those two are connected, the world might never know.
Did we make that joke that because originally we were hoping you and Maggie could podcast with us last week, and it just didn't end up working out, and then we started this episode and we were like, oh, for the French.
Rachel, Caleb, to give our listeners who don't know you some perspective. What is your relationship to baguettes?
To baguettes? Oh my gosh. So I love the French language. I've been studying the French language, and famously, at least locally famously, actually not famously at all.
This is going to dox you in 10
Infamously amongst
years.
his friends.
Infamously amongst my friends, at one point, and I should clarify that maybe I won't give the full story on the pod. It doesn't matter. But there are photos of me floating around taking a prom photo with a baguette in my arms. I do love my baguettes. I used to get them as a snack on the way home from high school. So I know I love baguettes, and that's not the only reason I love French, but it is a nice little fun fact. So it helps a lot that it's French. The fact that it just feels very French. Some of the things, I think one of the voice actors literally says "oh la la," and it was very funny. I out loud laughed at that. It just I love the style of the animation. I love just the feel of it. It was I got very so French. Wrapped up in this world, and maybe I just am a European at heart. Maybe that's it. But I really just loved the way the setting of it, and I thought it was fantastic storytelling, especially the twist from believing it was the officer who took our son to realizing that it was that was a fantastic twist, and then the ending where he takes off his hat and his horns have been removed, that did it for me. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And so easily it sailed its way into my top spot, and nothing has even remotely touched it the rest of the series. Nice, so yeah. Nice.
Love to hear it. For me, Our Song is number one. It just like, it's adorable. Great character animation, great use of the animation style to convey its different points. Great voice acting, great world. I would love to see more of this planet. Oftentimes, a lot of Star Wars planets are one biographical feature or just kind of throwaway. I feel like this planet is what now I'm going to totally blank, Rachel. I'll need your help on a proper noun. The planet that they want to live into Bad Batch Season 2. Do you remember by chance?
Oh,
Not particularly important.
George
Pabu.
What was that, Rach? Caleb?
I was going to say George Papadopoulos. That's not correct.
I think this is kind of what Pabu wanted to be. Like, Pabu never felt comfortable to me. It always felt just like fine.
Well, I'm just saying, if we haven't had a tsunami in 2 years. Oh no, a tsunami!
Like, I would actually love to visit this planet. Love to talk to these characters.
Maybe before the AT-ATs.
You know,
Sorry, I mixed up. I mixed up the episodes you're talking about.
That was Spy Dancer. This is Our Song.
That's right.
I was thinking back to the French.
I would also probably visit Spy Dancer's planet as well. But Our Song is very likable. An actual likable Jedi. A lot of Jedi come off as arrogant. I'm going to censor that. I had to say it, though. And
Qui-Gon Jinn would like a word.
And as for me, just like the sheer excitement of the Jedi character stopping all the rocks from falling, I just felt like that felt real to me. And the moment of her using her voice. Like, I also love, there's so much Star Wars that's the same that I love it whenever they do something creative with the pre-existing nature. So the Force, this is such a different exploration of what the Force can be, using a voice, the singing as a Force power. Phenomenal. And this is ultimately for me, like, when I come down to like, what's my favorite thing? You have these top 5 that I absolutely love. For me, what's going to be my top one? The one I would gladly watch again. Like, I would gladly watch that one right now. Just like, that's the one I would want to come back and see all the little details of all the little creatures and background details and everything. So that closes out our discussion of Star Wars Visions Volume 2. And that moves us into everyone's favorite segment, Meme Minute. But it's longer than a minute because Caleb is here and he didn't bring any memes, but we have plenty to cover up for him in this meme Parsec meme. Astrosecond. Rachel, kick us off.
Like a guest who was invited, but he didn't bring anything. He's here, but he didn't bring any memes. Why do you even bring him here?
We just assumed you didn't. I got one Transformers meme. I might have two. I don't remember what the TikTok links I copied, but this is a picture of it says, it's a traffic that says, follow traffic rules, someone is waiting at home for you. But the follow someone home are in much bigger font. So we have to show it to two people. So in this image, there are two pictures of Optimus Prime. I have Optimus Prime from Bumblebee, and it's captioned, follow traffic rules, someone is waiting at home for you. And the second image is Optimus Prime from The Last Night, Nemesis Prime, just follow someone home. Much better visually than I can explain it, but thought it was good. I was like, oof.
So I did not plan ahead properly for this one. I was really excited for this. I got an advertisement on Facebook for a Snapchat filter, and unfortunately, we will not be able to do it this week. Maybe I should have just saved it. No, I'll save it. I'll save it for the next time I can use it. I'm gonna leave that as a little teaser. This will come into play another time. My other meme, obligatory, not a meme, but a fun element. It's claiming that it's not a glitch out of Jedi Survivor. Have you heard about this, Rachel? Something to do with a Rancor. I'll play for you the clip. And Caleb, I think you also will. So this is just some standard Jedi Survivor footage here. And I'll hit play. And a Rancor appears out of nowhere and eats Cal Kestis. And it's pretty glitchy. And so people assume this was a glitch. But a creator on the video game retweeted this and said, let's see if of course, there's a very small chance of what happens below happening. So he said, I love the dynamic patrols that Lee did for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The valleys of Kobo feel so much more alive and changes as you progress the story. And of course, there's always a small chance that the following will happen, talking about the video. So this implies that is a design feature, not a mistake, that a Rancor can just suddenly appear, literally teleport.
Now I'm going to walk in fear on Kobo.
And all the 10 strings on Kobo.
I thought that was very entertaining. Very good. I thought that was very entertaining and interesting. So not quite a meme, but amusing nonetheless.
Now I know. So if it happens to me, we'll talk about it. I got one. It's captioned 200,000 units already with a million more on the way, which anytime you see a video of multiple things and they put the Republic Clone Army March, it's top tier. But this is just an entire line of USPS trucks.
Wow. That's a lot of USPS trucks.
Like,
it just keeps going.
it just keeps going. So if you want to watch the entire minute and a half of that, or full minute, you can, but it's good.
So this is an Instagram video, and I think it will become pretty apparent why this is Transformers joke. But in this, it's kind of funny, but it's funnier in reference to something that happened previously in the pod.
Did you know? In Transformers, Sam screams and runs away when he first encounters a Transformer. Oh God, no! This implies that Sam has transphobia.
We famously played a video that said, when I say trans, you say rights. Transformers!
I love that guy's videos. He's made some good ones.
I normally find them not. This is at Bad Movie Details. I normally find his jokes not particularly funny. They're really obvious. They're very dry anti jokes. Not quite my cup of tea, but in the context of this pod, I thought it was a really funny callback.
I won't play this, but it says reason 364,757 why Rebels is the best and funniest Star Wars content there is, and it's in season 3 from Inside Man when Ezra throws Callus through. Do you want to play it?
I would love
This
to
is
see
my
it.
favorite. This is David Oyelowo.
Oh, okay.
You can escape it. Now, I just have to make this look convincing. Okay.
It's just good.
Ezra!
It's good.
That's just an incredible use of framing. Like the framing is the whole joke.
I won't hesitate.
So this is a comic of sorts. Luke says, "I don't feel my legs," or I think the English is wrong. "I can't feel my legs." Obi-Wan says, "Just like your father." Luke, what? Obi-Wan, what? There's a bunch of other memes like this. Like there's one where Obi-Wan's like, "I remember your father. Good man, good pilot, flammable." I just like the idea of Obi-Wan just through the series of episode 4 throwing like little jabs at Anakin like that.
I remember the last time I saw your father kicking and screaming on fire.
There's another one where he's like, Obi-Wan encounters Vader. He's like, "Last time I saw you, I thought I made you shorter."
He's good at doing that to his enemies. So because we don't have a lot, so I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a lot of memes because one, I haven't really been on the internet as much because Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out and I'm trying to avoid spoilers. Two, Tears of the Kingdom came out and I'm trying to avoid spoilers. And 3, Tears of the Kingdom came out and I'm trying to avoid spoilers. 4, Jedi Survivor came out and I'm trying to avoid spoilers.
Fair enough.
So I've kind of procured some Andor memes, which is
Nice.
my favorite live action show. So this says Rebel Alliance at 100% strength, Rebel Alliance at 99% strength. And it is a picture of the Rebel Alliance meeting room at the 100%. And then the bottom picture is Luthen from Andor is 99% strength.
Very powerful man. You know this actor, right?
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh, yeah, of
He's
course.
a phenomenal character.
There are like 5 different actors that were in Chernobyl that are also in Andor.
Oh, wow.
There are many. I should make a thread about that on
He's
Twitter.
kind of the same character he is in Andor in Chernobyl, except for you would expect that character would be an Imperial, except for he's a rebel.
Oh, interesting.
So kind of in line with the Thrawn jokes we were making earlier. So you would know from our recaps, but the villain of Mandalorian season 3, he cloned himself, and that was a big plot point in that show. And so this says, leaked rumor, the Ahsoka show is going to reveal that Thrawn cloned himself just so he could start a performance art group. Oh and it's a picture of the Blue Man group.
Oh, no!
Should be the blue shrimp. Don't they know? Get on the Thrawn the prawn bandwagon. We're gonna get it started. Release the prawn cut. That's all I'm saying.
Prawn cut. So this is a WWE meme. So I have a lot of memes about the finale of Andor just because they're so good. It's Brasso who held Marva's brick. And it's on the WWE stage. I feel like, I don't know if I should read it. You might have to censor it.
That's fine. I'll censor it.
So it's going to be loud because I have to read it as a WWE. Are you ready?
Yes.
And here comes Brasso with Marva's ashes! And everyone's cheering. Thank you.
Yeah.
You gotta have, it's the impact.
Mm-hmm. That's really fun. So I think Caleb will especially appreciate this one. I found this one just before we started podcasting. It's simply a parody of a podcast. Parody of an album cover, and it says Weezer, and it's got Grievous, Vader, Plo Koon, and the cameo king himself, whose name I'm totally blanking on, Saw Gerrera.
We can't escape him.
All very wheezy characters.
Oh my gosh.
More Brasso
Oh my
content.
gosh, you could have 2 comedy points. Very good.
Thank you. I didn't make it, but I did make some. My next one I did make.
I have 2 that I've made. So more Brasso content, having a normal funeral, caving in fascist skulls with the ashes of the deceased. So many good brick memes.
Oh my god.
So
I have 3.
I made a meme based off an earlier conversation when we were talking about the prawn. I knew there was a famous prawn character. I just couldn't quite pin it down, so I just Google searched prawn character, and he came up. And you might not know he's a prawn.
You're talking about Mr. Krabs?
No, that's not what a prawn is. No, so this just is this famous prawn character edited blue, and it says Thrawn the prawn. It's the famous Muppet prawn. Pepe is his name.
Yeah.
Pepe
Oh
the
my
prawn.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Very
and
good. Very good.
I just colored in blue is all I did, and
Very
so-
low effort meme, but very good. Very good.
Very good. Did you make that on the...
I did. Yeah, I made that.
Very good.
More Andor content. Picture of Marva's hologram, funeral hologram. Commander Brasso, the time has come. Execute order Ferrixy Bricks.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Someone's
Yeah.
going to look at our meme minute and be like, did you guys just not watch Andor?
Yeah, I was about to say this is very out of date.
I won't show 2. I just kind of copied a bunch. Do you have more?
I am out of memes.
Okay. This one is one of my favorites. It's that scene of Wanda and Thanos in Endgame, where Wanda's like, "You took everything from me," and Thanos is like, "I don't even know who you are." And it's Cyril and Andor,
Very good.
as Wanda and Thanos respectively.
Don't forget to do the one that I asked you to close out with.
I have 3 more.
Tell
and
me
then I'll be
before
done.
you. I'll cue it up.
Oh, okay. So I have 2 more and then that one.
Okay.
So this is the infamous Mr. Incredible meme where he's happy and then not happy. This is more Andor. There are no alien prisoners. Happy. And then there are no alien prisoners. Realization that the Empire doesn't imprison aliens. They just kill them. This is I have 2 homegrown memes and then I'm done.
Okay.
So I have noticed a trend in the rebellion when it comes to Imperial defectors. Mm-hmm. We are 3 for 3 on redhead Imperial defectors. We first see spoilers for Rebels season 3,
Which we've done a lot already.
yeah. When Callus defects to the rebellion, General Hux, discount Agent Callus, if you ask me, defects to the Resistance and then promptly gets got. Defects. And then we see the Imperial, I almost said IBS, the Imperial ISB agent that we see speaking with Luthen and giving information. It's where we see Luthen's just phenomenal monologue of if you haven't seen Andor, watch it. But anyways, I made this good meme of the shot from Revenge of the Sith where General Grievous takes their lightsabers. This will make a fine addition to my collection, and captioned it "The Rebellion" and put in like the heads of those three characters, like where his lightsabers would. I think I'm hilarious. So I made that because there's a trend, and if there are more, I will add more to it.
Oh my goodness.
So I've got my last meme queued up.
Go for it. Oh, so I'm gonna give some context for this. So this is gonna be the last episode before I am married. Hopefully not. I really hope not. I
Can't hang out after you get married.
But this is gonna be the last episode before I'm married, and then I will be gone for 2 weeks for my honeymoon. And so this is a meme that Rachel made the day that she learned that I was engaged, which was the same day that I got engaged back in November. And she sent this to me, this meme, shortly after.
So, it was an infamous picture. This is the the day that Andor season 10 aired, the jailbreak episode. So like the hypest episode really up until the finale, and we watched them individually because Cameron was gone. And so I had texted him, "Hey, have you seen Andor yet?" And I think about an hour, and you didn't respond, which was fine. And an hour later, you posted in our group chat that you had proposed. And so I have this picture from SpongeBob where Squidward is standing at the Krabby Patty register, and SpongeBob is bursting out of the wall behind him, captioned Squidward as Cameron proposing to the love of his life. And then, "Hey, have you seen Andor yet?" Because I needed to know. And then I realized, oh. And of course, cue the congratulations text. But it was just very funny timing.
I'm glad we could reuse that meme, that it became relevant.
I saw it the other day and I was like, top tier.
So that brings us to the end of our longest episode ever.
Happy to be part of it. Happy to be part of it and part of the cause of it.
Our first ever guest. So you made history tonight, Caleb.
I feel very special. And it's the last one before it sounds like a hiatus. So I feel very honored to be on this episode.
You are one of the few people on this planet that will notice that there's been a hiatus. Is there any last notes you want to share? Any podcasts you want to plug? Anything you want to say?
Specifically ours.
Specifically? I suppose I can plug the other podcasts of other friends I know who are making podcasts.
Go for it.
Sure. So along with Rebels and Robots, if you're interested in good, still middle of...
Good? Is this not good?
No, I'm saying other good stuff. Other good, but this is other content. This is good farming content. You can listen to Let Them Eat Grass by Austin Williams, who is a mutual friend. That's okay. It's not doxing if he...
yeah, totally.
If he gives his name. So yeah, you can find that on Spotify. That's very good.
We should have him on to talk about Star Wars agriculture, moisture farming.
Interesting.
Moisture farming episode.
That could be interesting.
And then if you want just some interesting Nebraska content, for one more episode, their finale episode is next week, 3 a.m. in the afternoon. A friend from just ages ago, one of my best mates, going way, way back. Ironically, his name is Nathan. I have a lot of good friends who are named Nathan. And so
we never know which one you're talking about.
No, especially when I can't say the last names. So that's all real good stuff. Recommend both those podcasts. And yeah, those are my local podcasts to definitely plug. But if you're making a podcast and you want someone to plug them, I'm usually a pretty good source. I try and be good about that. I like to spread the word about all my friends. So yeah, thank you all
plugs.
So much for having me on. This was fantastic.
We're very, very happy to have you on, Caleb. And this is a special occasion because you're in town. You don't live, as we mentioned previously, you live in... I considered saying it, then intentionally censoring it, but I'm just going to not say it. It's funnier. You don't live in the same state as us, and so it's great to have you here. So very special occasion. We wanted to have you on last week, and it just didn't work out. So I appreciate you driving into town to see us.
Well worth it.
As always, thank you to Caleb Jacoby for our intro and outro music.
We can't dox him.
Props to Rachel for our artwork and Twitter account at Rebels Robots Pod. Caleb, do you have any funny quick stories you can tell about Caleb Jacoby? especially if it's related to music at all or anything.
Oh my goodness! Just I just remember for a particular talent show he composed. He loves composing things. It makes sense that he did this for you all. He just needs jobs, honestly, for him to compose. And so he made, for his talent, he made an electric guitar rendition of "Never Gonna Give You Up." And I think if you weren't listening close enough, you think it would just be a very good electric guitar performance. But if you were listening close enough, he definitely incorporated the full song, or at least the full main chorus in there. And it was very indicative of just who he is. He's a wildly talented musician, and he has a very particular sense of humor, and so it's an excellent instance of who Caleb Jacoby is. So yeah,
super good. Give us something to read on the pod. Leave a review, tweet or DM us memes or opinions. Caleb, you mentioned before we started recording that you have yet to leave a review, so now you have to leave a review so we can read it off on the pod next week.
You're legally obligated.
I can do that. I'll do it for the next, not next week, but whenever you guys have a pod again. That gives me a little bit more time.
Yes,
sometime in
gives you a
June.
couple weeks. Our next episode.
We're going to be talking about
unfortunately, not our next episode. 2 episodes from now, because when we come back, it will be Wednesday the 7th, and Rise of the Beast comes out the 9th.
I thought it came out the 4th.
Oh, I could be wrong. Let's look it up. I'm pretty sure. Let's double check. Rise of the Beast.
Well, I will be really in a different
I Google
time zone
search
by then.
Rise of the Beats. Rise of the Beast comes out June 9th. So
Okay.
it will be. So we are very close. So I think our next episode we should probably watch the original animated film. Probably.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, we have to watch Transformers.
Yeah, I think we should watch the original animated film. It would be a good idea. We'll definitely be back with Transformers content on our next episode next week. We'll have a hiatus, and then we'll come back and we'll talk Transformers and a new movie that's hopefully good, or at least interesting enough to talk about.
And
we'll
if it's
see.
not, then we can wait with bated breath for the one next year.
And so that look forward to hearing from you guys, seeing you, hearing you, whatever you faithful fans.
Please clap.
Fans. We're going on over 2 hours. I'm starting to run out of words. This is Cameron and Rachel and Caleb signing off, saying this podcast survived despite Rachel interrupting Cameron's engagement and Caleb wanting to be French, and hopefully Cameron getting married. Good night, everyone.
Good night.